No Catholic knows, and I was one, that Scripture says that unless you're born again, you can't come into the kingdom of heaven. My mum once said to me, and I won't say it in the explicit way my mum said, but what she actually said was, you born again people give me the shits. I said, hey mum, back up here a bit. You're a Catholic. Now every Catholic inherently trusts Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Never read the Gospels, but they trust them. I said, so I'll give you a reading from John. I picked up the Bible and opened it at John 3, and it says that unless you are born again, you cannot come into the kingdom. To which I said to Mum, are you born again or not? She said, I guess I am. I said, then shut up about it. Because no Catholic, and I went to primary school, I went to secondary school, I went to churches and all the rest. As a Catholic, we never heard the scripture that says you must be born again, because that's the beginning of opening up your spirit to God. Well, why'd they block that? One Father, our Father. Matthew 23:9, and call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father who is in heaven. And that's why it said, I'll make you one nation. I've reiterated this scripture again because it's the hub of the United Nations spiritual activity. And every Christian needs to understand this scripture and put it in your pulpits. But draw near hither, you sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer and whore. Against whom do you sport yourselves? Against whom make your wide mouth and draw out the tongue? Are you not children of transgression, a seed of falsehood? Now, remember the scripture I just read. It said the sons of the sorceress. Now here's an article, Freemasons held for sorcery in Fiji. They were Australians who were arrested in Fiji for doing Masonic rituals, and they were charged with sorcery in Fiji. Who got them off? A phone call to the Prime Minister's office got them off. And it says there, a group of Freemasons have had to spend a night in jail in Fiji, and that group included 8 Australians, after local villagers complained they were practising witchcraft. It's exactly what they do in the lodge. But the Fiji boys knew. The 14 men, including 8 Australians and the New Zealanders, sorry about that, Stewie, had been holding a nighttime meeting on Dene Island. Police also seized wands, compasses and a skull from the Freemasons' lodge. They were under surveillance, they got arrested. I think it's absolutely excellent. Now I want to say something. Look at that section. Section 48(1)G of the West Australian Criminal Code 1913 states not to reveal or discover you're committing an indictable offence. That's what it says. So when you go to a pastor in this town and say the oath of Freemasonry is an indictable offence and I've just revealed it to you, what are you going to do now? They say it's none of our business. Are they then committing an offence here? Yes. Not to reveal or discover any unlawful association, society or confederacy or any illegal act. Is this an illegal act? Yes. Well, it's actually got it on. It's actually written it itself here, and it says we're chucking the crown out. And that was with your consent, wasn't it? No. So you got the bank robber coming out of the bank, but you're now standing in the getaway car spot where you put the getaway car around the corner. Any illegal act done or to be done, or any illegal oath. Now the oath of people here to the United Nations cannot be a legal oath, because we don't even know about it. The oath of Freemasons that Freemasons take can only be an illegal oath because they don't have an act of West Australian Parliament or the Commonwealth Parliament to take it. Would that be reasonable to say that? Now you can get a copy of those oaths on a DVD by going back to that website in the one we quoted. Or engagement that may have been administered or attended or taken by himself or any other person or the import of any such oath or engagement is guilty of a crime and is liable to imprisonment for 7 years. The problem with that is your DPPs and your judges are all in the Masonic Lodge. Do they care about your law?
No.
Do they care about God's law? No. Well, who's going to make them accountable? You will before God does. Otherwise, it's a one-way trip back to hell. Commonwealth Constitution, section 44(1). Any person who is under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience or adherence to a foreign power. Let me stop there. Old English law used to make the foreign power of England the Vatican. But what I'm saying here, the foreign power that is clearly evident here is the United Nations. The foreign power that is clearly evident here is international Freemasonry. Why? It couldn't have been bred from this country because you are the youngest country in the world. Is that reasonable to say?
Yes.
Therefore, it's come here. It's a foreign power that came here. And any oath or allegiance to a foreign power is forbidden in your constitution, which has now been suspended by your parliament. Got it? Don't give up hope, because God likes it when it's pronounced dead. That's when he goes to work. Shall be incapable of being chosen. Now let me stop at those words. Anyone choosing Barry House as the representative for Western Australia or Kalgoorlie as the House of Reps, with knowledge that the Crown is out, who's guilty here? Barry House or the people who sat on the selection panel to choose him? Because they're in the process of choosing. Shall be incapable of being chosen. So they just simply should have said to him, we cannot sit and choose you, because we actually can't sit at all till they put the Crown back. Is that reasonable comment? Yeah. Or else we're sitting in a different substituted jurisprudence. And where'd that come from? The United Nations. Barry House is working for the United Nations. Didn't you know? Does he know? Does John Boland know? Because you've got them sitting as your local reps looking after the kids. And they're getting in the position to hand them over to the UN. Commonwealth Constitution section 44(2) is attainted of treason. What does the word attainted of treason mean in legal terms? No barrister can give you an opinion. Why? Because we've never had a treason issue in Australia. So it's in the Constitution, but nobody knows what the words mean. I'll tell you what they mean. Accused of treason. Has Julia Gillard been accused of treason in writing? Yes. Look what the next section says. Shall be incapable of being chosen or sitting as a senator. You don't have to be convicted of treason. You have to be accused of it. Did she know the Crown has gone from oath or law in Victoria and law in Western Australia? Of course she does. Does she care? No, because she's a Fabian socialist. Would a Christian ask a socialist to fix a Christian issue? You got the drift? What should the Christian do? You've either got two choices. Go and join the socialist side or get the socialist into Christianity. Is that correct? Would you be helping her by getting her in there? Well, you'll stop her getting a mark smack in the middle of her forehead, because it's going to turn out into be a sore that can't be healed. That's what the scripture says. And that's pretty irritating for a lady who looks in the mirror as often as they do, because that sore's not going to get healed. The Victorian Constitution is 3 constitutions, or 3 bills. I'm going to hold them up because they're really relevant, because I'll show you the tricks that they use. Just hold that for a minute, Stewie. That's the document that says it's an act. And I don't know why they call it an act before it's got its royal assent. It's really a bill. This document left the Victorian Parliament in 1854, was put on a ship on March 25, 1854, went into England and sat in England for 1 year. This one is the same as that one. Now the back page is really relevant, because the back page has 3 signatures on the back page. You can all see that, can you? That's signed in the Parliament, or the newly created Parliament of Victoria. And 3 signatures witness. Is this a contract?